name is Akif. I live in Cyberjaya. I'm 24. Currently, I'm the founder and CTO of Bayam Malaysia Sdn Bhd, which is a tech company based in Cyberjaya. Basically, what we do is we do tech stuff like app, mobile app, system, hardware, and so on.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Akif, for the introduction. And how about you, Mr. Leroy? Can you give a brief introduction?
Hello, my name is Ng Leroy. You can just call me Roy. I'm a third year student in University Tenaga Nasional and I'm studying electrical power engineering lah. Currently, I'm the president for the UNITEN Esports Club and I hope to be the president until the next one steps in. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so not to waste our time, we move on to forum session. Okay, we go to the first question to Mr. Roy. As we know that you are the president of Esports Club, right? So how do you manage your time for any event or program that you organize by your club with your studies?
Yes, this is a common question we get even during the interviews lah before we become a committee, right? So as a president, there's actually a lot of responsibilities to take care of, including managing the committee and also overseeing all the events. So the first thing that helps out a lot with managing my time for events and program is Google Calendar actually, or a planner lah. So Google Calendar really helps me keep track of any events and class assignments or projects I have to complete soon. So every time I open my Google Chrome browser actually, I have it set so that my Google Calendar opens up at the same time. So that way I can see my calendar and see my week ahead and see what tasks I have ahead. So I can prioritize my time for the tasks that are reaching their deadline soon so that it doesn't just pass me like, oh no, I was supposed to finish this task that day and I missed it. Now I regret. Yeah, so Google Calendar is a very useful thing. You can even sync up with other people's calendars. Like right now, actually Brighton has a feature where if you sync the calendar with your Google Calendar, all the tasks that your lecturer puts in Brighton will show up in your Google Calendar as well. So that's very helpful for keeping track all the assignments that they give lah, especially during this online phase, right? And then for the planning of club events, I also do this to make sure I don't clash with any midterms or with any important dates during the semester. I make sure like the club events avoid midterms and tests as much as possible. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but I try to avoid it as much as I can. Even the university like HEP, they also like banners from organizing events 2 weeks prior to finals. I think it's also for this reason lah. So students don't focus on their events and then forget to study for their finals. So this is also a quite important thing. This is also important for the team as well, so that everyone can give their full commitment to planning the activities. And also, it's also to get more participation so that students won't be like, I got my test coming soon. I don't need to care about this event. Let's just skip it first. So yeah, so when they are free, they don't have their tests, they can be like, I got time. I want to get some score run. So yeah, let's join this event. Other than that, I also segment my time in a day. Like maybe in the morning, I spend a few hours preparing for the classes because most of the classes are morning to evening. And then after that's all done, then only I kind of focus on my club work lah. Like checking up on the committee, checking up on events. Even between classes, when there are breaks between the classes, I also look back to the club to organize club stuff as well. Yeah, that's all for that.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Roy. Okay, so let's move on to Mr. Akif. So as we know that you and your team members have created an app called datang.my. It is a leading platform of attendance record system using QR code. Can you tell us more about the app?
Okay. Back when I was second final semester of UNITEN, I was a software engineering student SE, so CCI. So back then, the school are starting to reopen again because back in the days that the COVID is before pre-Delta session. So back then they try to reopen the school and they want to keep track of the temperature changes and the attendance of the student without actually making the student making a head count of the student and make the student record the temperature manually. So we then developed Datang.my. We provide the system which allows teachers, schools, and students to record their attendance and temperature and many more information just with using QR code. So we generate the QR code for each student, and then teachers can easily record the attendance by scanning the student's QR code. So even back then, there is a system that is more likely like Datang.my, but we provide Datang.my for free. So they don't have a setup cost that is high. So it is very helpful for the schools, especially in rural areas like Sabah and Sarawak. So we have achieved around 10,000 plus schools, plus minus, with companies and non-government schools and so on. So we are 10,000 plus minus schools with 2 million plus students in our system. So right now it is quite idle system right now because schools are not open. But when it is open, we have nearly 1 million scans per day. So this system is provided for free and is helping the students quite a lot, schools quite a lot.
Alright, thank you, Mr. Akif. Okay, so let's go back to Mr. Roy. Has your duty as the president affected your studies because you have to manage two things at the same time, right? Do you feel okay and easy to handle everything in the virtual environment?
To be honest, it is quite challenging to handle your academic stuff and then your club commitment stuff. And to be very honest, my exam result did take a slight dip a bit. Like last time it was mostly 4 flat, but now it's like around, it's lesser lah now. Okay. Like other than being the president of esports club, I'm also like the vice president for Japanese culture club. So I'm taking like kind of 3 things, maybe you can say. It's quite a bit lah. Some people can do that, some students can, and I really respect the students who can juggle their time between multiple clubs and still manage to get good results in their academic side. But overall, I still consider my academic one to be okay. It's still satisfactory to me. Actually, a bit of a story here. During foundation, I was like really into clubs. At that time, the academic side wasn't too heavy yet. So during foundation, I joined as a committee in 6 clubs actually. And I thought, oh, this is going to be very fun, 6 clubs. But then as time goes on, I enter my degree, I realized, oh wait, 6 clubs as committee is actually a lot of commitment to have. So I had to take my choices lah and join the clubs that I really had the passion in. So I say it was a good experience lah, but then after hearing the advice from seniors, because they have experience like joining multiple clubs before, and then like they said, oh, it might be quite hard, but if you can do it, that's amazing. But yeah, I didn't want to challenge myself too hard. I realized that I didn't have that enough time to get involved with 6 clubs lah. So for me, a small advice, if there are new students here, you guys can try out and join multiple clubs. But yeah, if you think you are really busy, I would advise against joining a lot of clubs lah. You can still try it, and then if you need to leave, just do it politely with the heads of the clubs lah. Okay. So the virtual environment for working, handling stuff, it has made things harder, especially during the start of this pandemic and everything. Activities in both the clubs I joined in, this esports club and JCCU, really slowly crawled to a halt, and we didn't have club events for like a few months actually. But then as time went on, as people slowly started to settle in their houses, got their setups right, like they didn't need to keep caring about, oh, is the person beside me gonna have COVID and here and there. Like they're in their comfortable space, maybe they are back at home. We slowly managed to gather back up and organize events lah. We had online meetings. We got used to doing the online meetings on Discord, Teams, Zoom, or whatever platform. And then we also got used to organizing online events. After, it's just the first event that will be a bit troublesome because it's a completely new thing to us. Like we don't know what might go wrong on the technical side. But after we done the first one, we kind of get used to it and we can keep rolling for the events. Yeah, another thing about the virtual environment workspace, it's sometimes a bit hard to contact people. Like, people don't immediately reply because they have other things going on in their real life. So now everything's virtual. You just have to send a message. Hopefully they reply on time. And you also got to keep remembering that you have to chase that deadline lah for the reply. Yeah, you don't get to meet physically like in campus where you can just like maybe meet up in the cafe during class breaks and everything. So yeah, but it's getting normal. We start to learn how to hang out online and stuff. So I think it slowly becomes easier lah, this virtual environment workplace.
I see. It's not that easy to join multiple clubs, right? To active in multiple clubs in university. You have study responsibilities and others, plus with virtual environment right now. Okay, so this question for both of you, maybe Mr. Roy can answer it first. What do you think of your leadership style in your organization, and can you explain further?
For sure. Leadership, actually, I've just been the esports president for 2 weeks now, so I'm still learning things along the way, and I'm still taking advice from the previous president as well, how to become a better leader. But so far, I think I would say myself as quite a chill leader. I don't like to become a dictator and order people around. Hey, you do this, do that. I like to get everyone involved with the work. I want them to be active in terms of like planning and giving ideas with us. I don't want them to just sit there, receive the orders. Okay, sir, okay, boss, I will do this like that. Yeah, I don't want to feel like everyone's being controlled by a leader. That's not the leader. That's being a boss in a company, I guess. Like leader, you need to do the things and have them like behind you. That's what I think a leader should be. Like they will follow your example lah. So yeah, I like to get the team involved with the planning and idea suggestions and not just taking the orders from me. And I also like to do the grunt work in the event planning as much so I can gain the trust of all my in my team lah. So everyone can, oh, this guy's a good leader. He doesn't just boss people around. He likes to do the work. So then I hope they can gain inspiration from me doing the work, so they can also strive to become a leader in the club in the future. I'll pass it on to Akif then.
So, Mr. Akif, what do you think of your leadership style and in your organization?
Okay, currently, for example, we just give you the real world example right now. For example, right now we are deploying a network setup at 2 locations. One is at Empire Damansara, City Damansara, and another one is at Tampin. So we have right now, currently we only have one team that we need to complete this project in this week. So we only have maybe around 2-3 days. So basically what I done is because so basically I created the base project. So for example, like the network design, network planning, and what equipment is needed to be installed. And then our team will go to the site and then pull the fiber cables and then splice the cables and then create network and so on and then reconfigure. So, but in the back scene, behind the scene, me myself will do the remote work, and then we will do. I'm also involved in the configuration and whatnot. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is, basically, my leadership is like Leroy has said earlier. So is that I created all the base thing, and then they continue from there, but eventually they will know how to do it by themselves. So when the job order comes, they just go to the site and then finish the work. So in the end, I just receive the information that the work is completed. But in case of any complaint, for example, my staff had do anything wrong, that something is not working, that we will not put the blame on the staff, on the team. We will try to solve the issue, but we will not compensate the issues or losses on the team. So we will bear the losses.
All right, thank you, Mr. Akif. So we move on to the next question to Mr. Roy. As a leader, how do you delegate responsibilities of the team?
Yes. For this one, in the club, I hope any club, all clubs has this. We of course have the hierarchy lah. We have the president and the vice president and so on lah underneath. So each task we will distribute them correspondingly to the suitable roles lah. Like maybe making a minute meeting for the meeting will be given to the secretary. Preparing the platform for the event will be given to like the technical team, or before this the logistics lah, because they have to go around ask for the venues and stuff. And of course, we will also ask if the person is willing and has time to do that task. We don't want to force them to do that task in case they are not free. Like maybe they have FYP or really important assignment they have to submit. Then we will find someone else in the team to help out with the task lah. We won't just force it on them. Later it won't jalan, and then yeah, later it'll be hard lah. The task won't be completed. And yeah, if the person's not free, someone else will have to take over. But I will make sure they will inform us about their status on the task. And after I've given them the task, a few days before the deadline of the task, I'll make sure to check on the progress of their job, so that it won't be like last minute and then just rushing, and then the overall outcome of the work is like less than satisfactory. So we have to make sure they do things on time. We have to give it enough time, and so they can complete it in a good time schedule and with enough quality lah.
All right, thank you, Mr. Roy. So next question also for you. In your opinion, what value do you need to be a leader?
This is a very good question for me. I expect a lot of people are actually watching me now. So first, the value that I think is very important to be a leader is the loyalty that you have to your team or to your club. If you're not loyal to the club, if you're like, why am I president? I'm just president because like someone push it down to me. I don't want to become president anymore. Then you can't really be a leader since you're not passionate and you're not loyal to the club to become the president, right? So you won't lead the club properly lah. Next thing, like I mentioned a bit just now, you need to have the passion for what you're doing in the club or in the team. If you don't have the passion, you'll be doing like separuh semangat punya kerja. So the outcome of whatever events you do will also be passed down to the participants lah. They'll be like, this event is so meh, for lack of a word. It's very like lackluster. Yeah, that's the word. Other than that, a leader should also have a good team spirit, so they can really bring out the fire in the rest of the committees in the team. Like if the leader is very like lazy, like okay, you please do this, you please do that, then the team's also gonna feel that, and they'll be like, this leader doesn't care. Why should I care for the club, right? So, and there are so many other values that I have to think about further. I so kind of forgot some of the values. So yeah, these are the top 3 values that I think you should have: the loyalty, the passion, and a good team spirit for the club to become a good leader.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Roy. So next, Mr. Keith, how do you motivate your team and make things easier for your teams during this pandemic? Because we know we cannot see each other maybe. Can you explain more?
Okay, in my case, basically when we achieve something, for example, we have delivered a project, or we have achieved a milestone in our project. Basically, I just give them something as a token of appreciation. For example, last time I give my team an iPhone, and then another one I give a MacBook, and I think maybe AirPod and so on. So for example, we have reached 50% completion of our task, then I will give them, okay lah, what you didn't have yet. So you didn't have AirPod Pro. So we will give them AirPod Pro, for example. So basically, what I try to say is I try to give them a token of appreciation. At Bayam, we didn't apply for bonus. We didn't give bonus to them, like a monetary bonus. We just give them something as a token of appreciation. For example, hardware or something. Because if we give them money, they will forgot about the money, where it come from, and so on, because they have agreed already on this before they entered Bayam, so they will receive some token like devices, gadget, and so on. So they will not receive bonus money because basically we are a kind of startup and we cannot afford to give them a huge sum of bonus and so on because right now we are currently surviving on our own. We didn't have our investment like 1 million ringgit injection money from government or grant or so on. We just living on our own and we survive on our own. So basically, this is a startup life. If you want to know, okay.
Alright, thank you, Mr. Akif. Next question, also to Mr. Akif lah. As a leader, how do you respond to stress and how do you prevent burnout within yourself and your company, especially during this pandemic? Because you're also a startup company, right?
Mm-hmm. So for burnout, this is common, especially in tech industries and so on, because computer software programming, especially, is a repetitive task. So usually you are doing the same task all over and over again, and without exposure to the outside world, it is become much harder. So how we try to prevent burnout pre-COVID, we try to do for example, the coding session outside, and then we try to check in into a hotel. Then we do a coding session for maybe 1, 2, 3 days. So right now in the COVID situation, basically what we are doing right now, all our team is not yet married, and then we have our own houses in Cyberjaya. So basically, our office and our hostel for our staff is basically 5 minute walk. So we try to put everyone in the same place, and then if they can see each other lah. So if we do remote work, then the burnout effect is much higher. So right now we are since it is advantage for us right now because no one is yet married, so we can live together in house because if they want to come to office, it is quite hard right now because the roadblocks and whatnot. Because some of our staff is living in Semenye, some of our staff is living in Kedah and so on. So we move everyone to Cyberjaya, and then we put everyone into a house and so on, because we want to give them a face-to-face look. Because we actually believe that the remote work is currently hard for our situation. So we are looking forward to post-COVID lah.
Alright, thank you, Mr. Akif. So this question for both of you. What do you do if one of your colleague quit before a deadline? Mr. Roy, maybe you can answer.
I go first? Okay, sure. So in my case, yeah, for the team, well, since we're not like paying anyone or anything, and most of them are students, this isn't a major issue lah that we need to like get disciplinary action and stuff. But of course, it's still an issue that we need to know why did they quit without like prior announcement before their deadline of their term lah, serving the club. So first of all, either I or like the disciplinary team in the club would contact them personally and ask them what's going on, man. Why do you quit? Why do you quit the club? Are you not like passionate about it anymore? Is the academic side of your life getting to you and stuff? So we need to know why they're quitting. And then of course after that we discuss about them. So do you still actually want to stay? We can help you out if you want to stay. We don't need to put too much burden on you in terms of club work if you still want to stay. And then yeah, we try to persuade them to rejoin the team and prepare a friendly environment for them to get support on lah. We don't want them to be alone just quitting the team. Yeah. And if they really have a valid reason for quitting, like let's say they have life matters that they really can't avoid and they need to give all their time to it, we will make sure that whatever gap that they leave behind in terms of responsibilities is filled up by someone else, so that the gap isn't just forever there and will cause issues for future event planning and stuff. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mr. Roy. Maybe Mr. Akif can answer this question.
So what do I do if one of my colleagues quit before a deadline, right? So what we actually do as in tech world, everybody is actually replaceable. This is a harsh truth, but it is true because everybody is actually replaceable. All the same skills are replicatable and everyone can do what you can do because basically everyone just know how to know maybe like for example coding PHP, Laravel, so on. There is a set of skills that are readily available, and even UNITEN in software engineering, there is a subject, for example, Laravel. So actually, what we are doing is, for example, if anyone is quitting, they are easily replaceable, and we are not missing them basically, right? That like that. So, but for emotion attachment, it is quite hard for us because we have trained him to do this task based on this guideline and then whatnot because to replicate the same thing it will take time and then for most probably the timeline will be extended and there is a possibility that the project will be extended to another time because we need to retrain our staff and so on. And this is quite an issue in an environment that, for example, a big company take a project with government, for example, and then they hire freelancers. Freelancers, for a reason, is they are not trained and they're not tied to for anything. If they are permanent staff, they are tied to for timeline for maybe a time period to quit, maybe 30 days, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months before quitting. They need to put up a notice before that. And for freelancing, it is an issue because, for example, a freelance didn't like the work that they are doing, they can just quit, and this is quite an issue. But for them to solve it, the timeline will be extended, and there's no solution, quite a solution for that right now. So what we are doing right now is back to my previous answer, which is I try to motivate them, I try to give them token of appreciation, so that. But currently, right now, we didn't have anyone that quit yet from Bayam, so that's a good thing. As for example, except for interns and so on.
All right, thank you, Mr. Akif. So next question to Mr. Akif. As a leader, how do you handle disagreement during collaboration with other organization, which is externally and internally within your own organization?
For disagreement during cooperation, there will be a disagreement. For example, this is our real situation. For example, we try to do a system mobile app, and then we quote them for maybe, for example, 100,000 ringgit. Okay, so the project is 100,000 ringgit for 6 month delivery time. So what we are going to do is they will try to negotiate on that price. So they will try to negotiate on that price. They want to justify. So I don't want 100K for 6 months. How about 30K for 1 month? So we try to say we say to them no. Basically, we will try to justify by, for example, the cost versus time versus time spent versus labor cost and so on. So basically, one will win and one will lose. So for the argument, but usually we will lose for that because even in IT, customer will always win. But if the project will take your time and then it will cost you more than the cost that you're doing it, we usually reject. But sometimes if we didn't have enough, like what I say, for example, we need the project and so on, we will usually take it, but at the end, it will make us suffer. So this is the situation when the project is, it didn't justify the cost. For example, the cost is actually higher, the market price is higher, but we charge them lower. So in the market rule, there's a rule that if you want to take up projects like this, you need to take up project from actual rich people itself. If you take from the poor people, this is a kind of harsh word, but yeah, it is the truth in our sector. If you want to take a project from like Project A, we don't take it from the poor people. If the project from the poor people, the others can take it by themselves. Freelancers can do it themselves. So, for example, if someone came to you and you want to do the project, so I want this 10,000 for 1 month. So in the 1 month, they will push you harder, and they will ask you for changes, and they will ask you to add something more. If you will work with the actual organization that can actually pay, they in the first phase we will discuss it earlier, and then when the development phase has started, they didn't actually bother us, because actually if they bother us, we will charge them for changes and so on. Because for example, if you want to do project from house project, if you already done the groundwork, you already put the scaffolding, you didn't want to add, after the ceiling actually up, you didn't want to add more scaffolding in the building. So basically, in the project, we try to take the people that actually can pay for the project, because in that way it will actually make less argument for internally. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Akif. Okay, this one is the last question for both of you, Mr. Roy and Mr. Akif. What are any last words you have for student or fresh grads out there who aspire to be leaders, or maybe will be working alongside leaders? So maybe Mr. Roy, start first.
Side leaders, of course, be friendly. Be a friendly person. No one will like a selfish person who holds himself high, like, I'm the best, I did this event, you guys never done this type of event before, you can't beat me. Who the heck would like that kind of person? They'll be very shy, very reluctant to work with a person like that. You want to be a leader, not a boss or a dictator, like I said just now. So yeah, be a person who's humble, be a person who's friendly, be an approachable person, so other people can approach you for help, and you can also easily approach other people for help. I also would advise for people to be quickly respond to work requests whenever you can, because sometimes like people give you work stuff, it might be urgent but you don't know it. So if possible, reply as quick as you can lah, so that work will be efficient, especially now during the virtual work environment. And I also would advise that you spend time with your workplace, or spend time with your club committee, so you can build that bond between each other. So as a aspiring future leader, you know your team, and you know like how your team operates, whether it's like this or like that lah. Also, don't be too shy of a person. On the other hand lah, like just now we talked about not being too boasty of a person. Don't be too shy of a person as well. Otherwise, the previous leader would be reluctant to choose you as a leader, because they're like, this person can't really like take charge of stuff. I'm scared he can't take charge of stuff. So yeah, don't be too shy. Don't be too like closed in your cave. So yeah, you need to learn to approach people as well. Like I said, be friendly, be open to other people in order to create that friendly working environment in the club. Yeah, that's all from me.
All right, thank you, Mr. Roy. So next, maybe Mr. Akif.
Okay. So any last word? So basically, if you want to be a leader, or you want to work alongside leaders, so like Roy said earlier, you need to be approachable, but not too approachable. You need to be more friendly, but not too friendly. You need to be more not too shy, so on. Because I'm giving my words from my world, my IT software development world. So for those who want to pursue something like software development, uh, you may networking is important basically. So if you have networking, for example, you have maybe 500 LinkedIn connections, or you friends with, you're connecting with the leaders or the bosses of the companies. So the chances that and headhunters, for example, so the chances that you will get actually into the works that you are applying is much higher, because they saw you and you post frequently to the LinkedIn, for example, so that people can actually see you there. I regularly got invitation like from headhunters in LinkedIn that they want software engineers and stuff, but I didn't accept because I already running company myself. So basically, I just extended to Roy's word earlier. So I just added you need to extend your networking.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Akif. So thank you so much, Mr. Akif and Mr. Roy, for the fruitful session. Now we will proceed with Q&A session. So please, to participants, if you have any question, raise your hand and I will call your name to let you speak. Or you can also send the question in the chat or Telegram group, and I will read it for you. All right. So any question?
Roy,
Yes.
what do you think about the JCU?
Can you speak a bit louder? I think it's a bit hard to hear.
What do you think about the JCCU?
Oh, GCCU. Yes. Like I said just now, I'm actually the president for both these esports club. Not both lah. Sorry, president for esports club and vice president of JCCU, which is Japanese Culture Club UNITEN. If you don't mind me talking about it a bit, is it okay, Mr. Moderator?
Yes, sure, go on.
Okay, so I think JCCU is a good place for students who like to expand their Japanese culture interest. So if you're interested in that, you can come join us tomorrow. Actually, we have a JJCK session, so all of you can actually check out the clubs in UNITEN. For any new students here, if you're interested in finding your interest for any clubs, actually today the JJCK has started. JJCK standing for Jalan-Jalan Cari Club. Sorry. It's on Teams actually, and you guys can go in and check out the list of clubs they have in the channels, and you can see what suits your interest. So yeah, I recommend you guys check out UNITEN Esports Club if you like esports related stuff, and also the Japanese Culture Club if you're into Japanese culture stuff.
I have a question. How am I supposed to feel confident when I'm delivering a speech as a leader?
Oh, this question is directed to me, or to me, is it? Or is it to Akif? Or both of us?
Yes, to you.
Okay. Feel confident. Yeah, that is something that some people get naturally. It's easy to get naturally. Some people are born great speakers. They can go on stage. They of course they still have butterflies in their stomach a bit, but once they start talking, they talk good, and they really capture your attention lah. How to feel confident is, I'd say you have to do it a few times. The first time you do it, you might mess up. You get words wrong. You stutter a lot. It happens. Actually, now also I'm feeling kind of nervous, although I'm just sitting in front of my computer, not meeting you guys face to face. But yeah, as a leader, you learn to talk to your team anyway. You have to like really lead the meeting, so you'll be talking in front of multiple people. So that does slowly build up your confidence in talking in front of many people lah. What else is, I guess you can practice talking in front of the mirror. I'm not a professional in building up confidence, but this is what I guess I can give advice. And you can plan in your head what you're supposed to talk about at the start, and try to make it as fun as possible for you. Don't be so stiff. Kind of feel relaxed have a nice day, wake up early, have a cup of coffee, make sure you're energized, don't sleep too late the day before. Yeah, you need all that energy, and yeah, make sure you look your best. I don't know if I'm looking my best. We'll see. Yeah, that's how you feel confident lah. It comes with experience also. If you are not naturally confident to speak in front of a large audience lah. Does that answer the question? Was it Puvana?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay.
Alright, thank you Puvana for the question. Alright, so maybe next question. Anyone?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I have question to Mr. Akif. Okay. My question is, why should I be a leader? Because I'm not naturally a person that likes to be a leader, you know, because I don't like to handle the responsibilities that I don't want all that obligation that a leader has to do. So I just want to ask Mr. Akif, why you choose to be leader, and why I also should be a leader try to be a leader in the future.
Okay. So basically, what you are trying to say is you don't want to take the risk and you just want to stay in the safe zone. For example, if you are working with someone, you will get monthly wages, and then you can pay your bills, and that's it. So being a leader, aka being a boss, so you're actually holding a risk. So with that risk comes more great opportunities, and you will have a great return. So the bigger the risk, the bigger the return. So if you are being a leader, you set up your own company, you handle your taxes, you manage your account yourself, and so on. So the risk is actually higher. So if you messed up anything, you actually don't have a safe landing spot for you if you fall down for some reason, if you fail. So except if you are from a rich family, so that your family can be your landing spot, landing zone. So like that, like I said, you are not necessarily need to be a leader. Not everyone can be a leader, but anyone can be a leader, because leading stuff is built into us. Right? It is naturally born into us, the lady. So actually, everyone can be a leader. So, but not everyone can handle the risk that is comes with being a leader. For example, if you lose your company, you will maybe bankrupt, and then all your asset will be frozen. Your asset will be taken by the bank if you have a loss, for example. So, but if you succeed, for example, your company goes higher, and yet you will get listed on Bursa, you get listed on IPO, you will actually get richer. So, this is the argument that most of the people like the normal workers or anyone that taking wages that said actually for example people that are working in factories, for example, not saying that everyone that works in factory is actually this kind. So he's working late, like from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. plus OT. So why should he doesn't get more wages? Why doesn't he have got return from the company? Why doesn't the company appreciate them? So the company actually paying them wages, monthly wages to do that job. So if they quit at that time, they will not have the risk that is actually taken by the owners of the company. So by taking the risk, you actually expecting to get a better return. But if you don't have a risk, you can have a safe landing spot. You get the monthly wages. Even the company is actually on fire, you still got monthly wages. So that's the issue. If you really want to take the risk, you can be a leader. If you don't want to take risk, you doesn't necessarily have to be a leader, because if everyone is a leader, who want to do the job? So yes, that's
Okay, thank you.
Alright, thank you, Mr. Iqbal. Next question, I think from Adib. Maybe Mr. Haris can read it.
Hello.
Alright.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
I have a question about
Alright.
I don't know what is it called in English, but kalau seseorang tu daripada group member kau abang yang tak buat kerja, macam mana tu?
This question for Mr. Roy or Mr. Akif.
Mr. Roy.
Alright.
Ya, ni macam mostly macam dalam group, so like mostly class assignment punya ke macam mana?
Yes, the assignment.
So like, class assignment, kalau member tak buat kerja, is it okay if I kind of mix English and Malay for the answer?
Yes, you can mix it. Yeah, boleh campur-campur je.
This one, it's a hard choice lah. I mean, you choose your friends, in this case, your members based on trust, right? So if you chose him as a group, you should trust him that he can do the job lah. But if he's not performing the job, then sometimes you can't be too friendly with everyone in the committee. If they start acting up and like have issues in your group, you need to confront them lah. Hey, why aren't you doing this work? We like dah distribute kerja ni dengan team kita, so kenalah buat kerja sekali. Kalau tak buat, then nanti kita bagi tahu lecturer lah, tolak carry mark or something like that. Yeah, this you have to settle this, kena settle dispute ni juga lah with your member tu if they are not doing the work. You really have to confront them on this lah. You tak boleh just let it slide gitu and then continue being member lah. It's not a good thing lah for group assignment. Like piggyback riders are never a good thing in a group for assignment and stuff. Same thing as in the team lah. Kalau ada orang like not doing their job, although they keep saying they want to stay in the team, it's time to confront them, ask them, do they really still want to stay in the club? Are you still committed to helping out with the club? If not, I'm sorry, we will have to relinquish you of your duties as a committee in the club lah, since you're not performing up to standard gitu. Tu jawab soalan tak? Faham tak semua? Solihuddin tadi.
Thank you.
Okay, sama-sama.
Thank you, Mr. Solihuddin. Alright, last question. I will read it from Mr. Adib. Can you share a short story about one leadership challenge that you faced and how do you actually overcome it? Alright, that's question from Mr. Adib. Maybe Mr. Roy and Mr. Akif can answer it. Start with Mr. Roy first.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again? Something about challenge.
Can you share a short story about one leadership challenge that you faced and how do you actually overcome it? Yeah.
Challenge. Okay. Actually, this is quite a recent issue actually with the esports club actually. I'll cerita a bit lah. So the previous president stepped down and then now I'm the current president. But because normally the way things goes in club is that we have like the high committee and then we got like the season committee and then we got the fresher batch of committees yang like baru interview for like baru we accept for like one sem. So the problem is fresher batch of committee can't terus step up to high committee. Usually the season committees baru boleh can take the high com punya position, right? So right now we have a bit of an issue. We're facing a bit of a shortage lah on the season committees to step up. So right now, like the season committee, there's a few only and there's a lot of fresher batch committees which they don't have a lot of experience that I'm confident in taking over the club entirely. So now I need to personally slow down the events in the club, make sure the committees in the club are all knowledgeable about organizing activities, make sure our documents are all organized and put in the correct places, make sure we know who's actually still wants to stay in the club, tak nak like extra members nanti pening, you nak buat kerja tak? then no reply for like I don't know how long, and then we delay. So we need to clean up the club lah, I call it. So yeah, we need to so now I'm kind of re-strengthening the base of the club before we go to greater heights. Cause banyak other organizations datang contact, nak collab tak, and it's like we don't have, our committees aren't prepared to handle this, so we are closing, like we say, okay, no collaborations for now, let's go back to the basics. We handle some basics event dulu. Like all the fresher batch of committees know how to organize the event, what proposal, deal with the participants and all that. That's one leadership challenge I had to face last time. How about you, Akif?
Thank you, Mr. Roy. Next, Mr. Akif.
For my leadership challenge, okay, for example, previously, maybe last year, we have someone that they want to, for example, they want to invest in our company. So we just, this is our mistake, like we like just blindly accepted it. But in the end, we can see that what he is trying to do is they want to take over all of our own product. Actually, right now, back then we already have Datang Domai back then, so they want to take the product and into their own IP, and then they want to own the product, but they don't want to pay anything. So they don't want to give us maybe some shares of the company, of the new company, established company, and they don't want to give monetary like money lah, for example. So in that case, what me as the leader that have decided that we want to cut off the ties. So he has invested in our maybe office setup and so on. We just pay them in lump sum, for example, maybe around 20K something. So because he set up our office, and then we try to start the company with them, but in the end it didn't work out, so we just pay them back. So yeah, so that is one of the leadership challenge that I need to make a decision at that moment lah. Because if I decided to just go with the flow and so on, so maybe right now I didn't have a company with my own team and at our own payroll and so on. So that's the one of leadership challenge recently that I faced.